So this is a CE credit. It's approved for CE credits in New Jersey, Georgia, Illinois, and New York. Individual annual. There you go. So it's New Jersey, PA, Georgia, Illinois, New York, and Florida if you're in this room. Okay. And so Leanne just told us if you want to join Appia and get free credits for the next year, it is go to appia.org, click on the membership link. The first thing that you have to put in, just like with everything else, it's got a code there for the associate membership. It's individual annual, all one word. And that will give you the $75 discount. And you have to remember it for the rest of the Metro career, so I don't have to, because I'm going to forget. So you got to remember it. No, in fact, you have to remember it. Get off your phone. Hey, get off your phones. Do you remember the code for becoming an Appia member? It's your job now forever. But it's individual, annual, all one word, no spaces. Okay? Next slide, please. Thank God for spell check, right? Sure it will. The whole word will come up with that squiggly red line. All right, the next line. And so this class is developing your public adjusting business. Who does? I don't know, but they're approved. And if they're, are you sure? So this one is not South Carolina. So here's what I'm going to guess. I know one thing, South Carolina doesn't have a bond. And since they don't have that, they don't have CE credits either. Thank God. Hopefully. Until they realize that they can collect money from you. And then as soon as they realize that, you're going to have to start doing CE credits. But it's only a matter of time, so enjoy it while you don't have to. But it's only a matter of time. Next slide, please. So one thing I always caution people right in the beginning about understanding your business is that lots of times it's people have a misconception about what this business is or how you should be doing your business. Not so much like you would think it's business. And when you start thinking about that stuff, you think of storefronts, you think of internet sites, you think stuff like that. That's what you're thinking about doing business. But in our business, if you're building a business, which means what? We're building a business in our business. What do you think that means? Hiring people and expanding your business, okay? And so it's not about what you think it would be about. Like I make this joke, I think I'm up to 427 different classes of water that they give those courses, and they give those courses all the time. And it seems that everybody loves those courses. Obviously, there's not 427 different classes of water. I made a mistake. There's not 428 classes of water, because every time I say that word, I have to add one. Because people think they need to know that stuff. They need to know that there's 429 different classes of water in order to be a good public adjuster. That's just not true at all. You don't need that, okay? It's also not true that you have to learn a whole bunch about construction. It definitely helps. And let me tell you, the best class learning about construction, Hague Engineering out of Texas, has this great new class. It's called the Hague Reviewer Program. It's meant for inside adjusters. The first one, Hague Reviewer number 1, goes through an overview of construction methods. It is the most comprehensive, the most well done, the most complete class I saw on construction methods. If you don't know anything about them, maybe that's something you want to think about taking in the future. You don't have to do it right now, but if that's something that you want to know, that's a great thing. If you have a construction background, you already know all this stuff. But if you don't, it can be helpful. And even the stupid stuff, like why is a double pane window called double pane? Really? There are people that don't know that. They don't know how to look at a window and tell that it's a double pane window. They don't know. They don't know what a bottom plate and a top plate is. Because it doesn't make any sense. When you say bottom plate, what do you think that means? It means something metal, right? Right? It's a plate. Right? You think a plate, you think metal, right? That's not true. It's wood. It's wood framing on the bottom next to the foundation. That's the foundation for the wall. That's the bottom plate. Guess what the top plate is? Yes, it's this. It's top on the top. So you have your individual 2x4s or 2x8s, whatever you have, going up vertically, and where they connect to the top, that's the top plate. Okay. And then if you have a second story, what do you think goes on top of the top plate? Well, but you have to have something in between, right? Because it's a different floor. Okay? But what I'm saying is, you get the point right now, is it's a very comprehensive course, and it gives you a lot better understanding. And it gives you a better appreciation of what the adjusters have to understand. And it's done in a way that you can go at your own pace. Kind of expensive. It's $350, but you can get seed credits, which you don't need by taking that class. So that's something that you want to do, and you want to learn that information. But outside of knowing construction terms and what those things mean, and I tell people, my first, at month 7, I had to ask a question. You know what that question was? So I finally asked at month 7 what the hell sheathing was, because I didn't know what the hell it was. I had no idea, because they kept talking about the sheathing gets wet, that has to be replaced, all that stuff. And I'm just sitting there doing the presentation. I don't know what the hell it means. I had no idea. I also remember that John Handy, who was an adjuster when I first started, one day I get a call from him. But Steve told me originally, if you have a special form policy, an HO policy, an HO3 or CP3, that everything that's accidental, everything that's sudden and accidental is covered unless it's excluded. But he never said it unless it's excluded. What he said to me is everything's covered. So the third time I wrote the cracked, spalling concrete steps, John calls him up. He goes, Mike, that's not a covered loss. I go, it's not. Steve says it is. He goes, well, it's excluded. He goes, think of it like this. He goes, think of it that ground is not covered. And since it's part of the ground, it's not covered. That's the easiest way to think about it. Is it true 100%? No. Because, you could drop a boulder or something on your concrete steps, you're moving out, and you could crack them. You could bust off a piece. Car could hit it. Of course it's covered, right? But for the most part, what I was thinking, sudden and accidental, wasn't really sudden. Concrete crack, steps falling apart because of age and weathering. Is that sudden? Sudden? Does it give you a warm, sudden feeling in your belly when you're looking at something like that? And spalling means the top layer of the concrete is coming off. You ever see that before? So does that give you a sudden and accidental warm, fuzzy feeling? No, it doesn't. But that's what he told me in the beginning. So that's what I went. But I was still very successful. I was still able to write a lot of claims. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But I did know a couple of things. What I did know was that you had to give people presentations. And you had to do a good presentation, else they wouldn't appreciate your service. There was a big problem, though, when I started. You know what that problem was? There was no presentation. Stan, tell them what we used to do in the old days when you presented the service to somebody. But you would literally scare them into using your service. That's what you would do. You would scare them that if they tried using the insurance company, they were going to get taken advantage, which just happened to be true. But that's what we did. So it's not always about what you think it is. You don't need all that stuff, okay? I didn't know anything about that, but I was still able to write a claim because people are smart enough to know a couple of things that they didn't know what was going on. And in our DNA, there's a gene that starts expressing itself around age 23, and that's a distrust of insurance companies. It's on the 21st pair, and it's at locus 247. Okay, did anybody know that? Because I just made it up. But it's there when every adult, there isn't one adult that will disagree with you when you say insurance companies take advantage of it. Whether it's, well, they're stupid. But whether it's health insurance and you've been burned by health insurance because you didn't get a referral, or the expensive medicine that your doctor wants you to take all of a sudden is not covered. Okay? It's only the most expensive ones are. The cheap ones are like $4 that aren't covered. Yeah, they are covered, but you have to pay the $4, right? So, or it's the auto insurance where I got hit from behind, and the her insurance adjuster tried to tell me it was half my fault. You know why it was half my fault? No, well, it was in New Jersey, but you know why it was my fault? Because if I wasn't on the road that day, it would have never happened. That's what he tried to tell me, and he did it with a straight face. That's only for medical. Okay, so or it's something like workman's comp, you know, where you fall 27 stories and you survive. Okay, oh, you'll love this, the workman's comp one. There was a gentleman in central Pennsylvania. He was working in a mine. He worked on one of those very large construction cranes, the ones that you have to put together and then take them down and move them. So he literally had to climb up 75 feet every morning to get to the cab of his crane so he could do the strip mining operations that they did. And before he got to the top, he slipped and fell. Unfortunately, he got hurt bad. All right? And he never regained consciousness. He was airlifted to the hospital. He was in intensive care. He had 2 or 3 surgeries. And unfortunately, he died about 8 days later. The bill for the hospital was about $200,000, you can imagine, very expensive. And the insurance company for the workman's comp rejected it and said, no, we're not going to pay for this. Because the law in Pennsylvania says the claimant has to make application. And since he never regained consciousness, he was never able to make application. So they were in their rights, and the Supreme Court in Pennsylvania said, yes, they don't have to pay. Yes, that's true. Okay? So whether it's things like that, or it's property insurance, where they tell you your deductible it's too high, it's going to not meet the deductible, or this isn't covered for some reason, we don't pay for that. Everybody in the world knows that insurance companies aren't trustworthy. Right? And that's what you should take advantage of. So all the extra ancillary stuff that you think you need to know, you don't really need to know it. The only thing you need to know is people don't trust insurance companies and they want help. Now, does that work 100% of the time? No, okay? Because there's always that jerk, 1 out of 10. I have a brother-in-law, Russell. Russell knows everything, okay? If I was a nuclear physicist, he would know more about nuclear physics than me. That's just the way he is, all right? And 1 out of 10, you're always going to run into people like that. But the other 9 are smart. They know better, and they'll use you. The only problem that most people have with our service is the problem that they have is that they don't think it's that. That can't be that simple, Mike, right? Can't be that simple, can it? Can it really be that simple? You're like, what the hell is that? National treasure? Can it really be this simple where he sticks the pipe in the thing and it turns and it opens that door and he found the treasure, right? Can it really be that simple? Yes, it can be really that simple. And that the only thing that you have to determine is how many of them can I do? And that's the biggest problem because people aren't sure. And they're not sure for a couple of reasons. The biggest reason is they're always afraid that somebody's going to ask them a question that they don't know the answer to. I'm standing up here now. We're going out to the internet, and I'm standing here now, and I'm telling you this is absolute truth. Nobody's going to ask you that question. And if they did ask you a question that you didn't know an answer to, you know what you say? Nobody ever asked me that before. I'm not really sure what the exact answer would be, but I will find out and I'll get back to you. And guess what the person will do? They won't say, damn it, I got you. You didn't have the answer. I am not going to do business with you. No, they're not going to say that. What do you think they're going to say? Okay. That's all. That's the worst that could ever happen to you. Or another thing could happen to you. When you say, have you ever heard of public adjusters? This is the greatest thing in the world. And they go, yeah, I know about public adjusters. This is what you do. Say this. Write this down because this is important. Man, you never find anybody who knows about public adjusters. What do you know? And then go like this. Hold your lips closed. Do not talk. You know what answers you're going to get? You're going to get, it has something to do with the public, right? That's the most common one. What? Oh, yeah, yes. Right. So that's different. Right. That's different. But they don't really know. But the reason why you ask them that, you make them backpedal because now they listen. Because they know that you think they're going to ask another question when you directly confront them and make them really tell you what it is. And this is the only thing you have to do. When they say it has something to do with the public, don't laugh because that's what you're going to want to do when somebody says that to you. It has to do with the public. And you're going to have to stop from laughing because it is really funny. Because the first thing you're going to think of is me standing up here telling you that's what they're going to say. And when they say it, you're going to start laughing. And go, this has nothing to do with you. But don't let them see you laugh. Turn your head and do something because that will just make them mad. All right? Because remember last time you gave somebody a wrong answer and they laughed at you? Yeah, well, it doesn't really feel good. So, next slide. So what you should be working on is you should always be focusing on money-making activities. And the way we make money here at Metro is pound. Very fine. That's what the focus is. So your focus also, you can make money, but it's a long-term proposition. It's if you recruit and train somebody. That's another way of making money. But today, if you don't write a claim, the chances of you getting a paycheck in a couple of weeks from now are not very good. So that's what you should focus on, is the money-making activity. Too often, people don't focus on that. And I've been there too. You remember, well, not you guys aren't old enough, but there was a time when we only had one type of paperclip, and they were silver. Then all of a sudden in the late 90s, we started doing gold paper clips, and then multicolor paper clips, and then larger paper clips. Well, you can't really do business unless you have at least a couple of every single one of those, right? What I used to do, I used to do this starting in 2000. I used to walk around in these classes, and I'd hand everybody a gold paper clip and say, now you don't have to go searching for them anymore because I know how hard they are to find. Because they are hard to find. And what do you think the purpose of gold paper clips is? that you focused on that doesn't matter. The paper clips don't matter. And at the time, desk pads were a big thing. I don't know, are they still a big thing with the calendars on it? Like if you had a desk, you had to have a desk pad with a calendar on it. And your biggest thing was, should I get the one that's the school one because it's 18 months, or should I get just the calendar year one? It's February, I already lost a month, but should I do that, or should I get the school one that continues on until the next year? That was your biggest decision. Okay? Or what kind of organizer you had to get. All that stuff didn't matter. I actually spent a whole afternoon looking for a specific pen because I don't really like pens. And I'm serious, I like the ones that are kind of spongy at the bottom, okay? But it has to be a specific type. And it has to go up about halfway up the pen, else I don't like it because that's where I grab it. And it took me about half a day by going to Staples and Office Max and other stores back. I couldn't do it because I didn't have the right pen. That's what he doesn't understand. Right? But it's not about all that stuff. It's about what can I do to write a claim today? And I guarantee you, if you spend 2 or 3 hours right now, starting now, and your only job was you could not leave here and go to lunch unless you had a lead on doing a presentation for somebody to do a claim, you would find it. Now, if I held a gun to your head and said, I'm going to kill you and your family if you don't find a claim, most people would just write off their families at that point because that doesn't do anything for anybody. But do you do see that if you actually focus on doing that one specific thing, each and every one of you could do it? Now the question is, well, why don't you do it? Why not? Throw something out. Why not? No, you do, but everybody else. Why not? What? I don't think it's laziness because I think you would much rather make $1,000 today than not. So it's not lazy, right? So that's not it. Well, we do have some things that we have to do, especially if you have family or you have to take care of family members or things like that. It does make it tough. Okay? Not just kids, but if you have parents or other siblings that you have to take care of, it makes it really tough. But still, you still could make $1,000. Today, you can make $1,000 because we can make anywhere from $600 to $1,000 by just writing a claim. Why don't we do that? Why don't we do it every day?
We got distracted.
It's an urgency. Those bills are coming. Still, that doesn't matter for most people. A lot of people go bankrupt. They get evicted. Well, right now you can't get evicted, but 2 years ago you could get evicted if you didn't pay your bills. They would turn off your electricity if you didn't pay your bills. Right now, all that doesn't matter. They're not allowed to do that right now. The wave is coming, okay, but they're not allowed to do that. So what do you think it is? Well, part of it's comfort.
Procrastination.
I'm sorry?
Procrastination.
Fear. I'm not sure if I've ever been afraid of $1,000 before, but okay. Well, we don't have to call it. That's a great thing, and that builds on yours. That's a great thing. We don't even have to pick up the phone now. We have Rapid Funnel. I'm a big fan of Rapid Funnel. You probably didn't know that. If you saw me yesterday, you would know that. I'm a big fan of Rapid Funnel. You know why? You don't have to pick up the phone. You know what I hate to do? And you probably do too. You just don't admit it. I hate talking on the phone. I hate it. Can't stand it. So much so, I have 5 sisters. I can't even remember their names most of the time because I don't like calling them. That's how bad I don't like talking on the phone. You are number 1 in Rapid Funnel. I'm right there around 15 or 20. I'm okay with that. He's way up there. There's no way I'm going to get there. I think on day 1, he was like in the hundreds already. On January 1st, I'm like, what the hell? I got 2. How the hell did he get 200? So right then I'd say, well, I ain't going for number 1 because there's just no use, right? But anyhow, so with Rapid Funnel, I don't know how the hell you got to 200. You're not doing anything different than me. You're doing something. It's probably not legal, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay. I'm okay with it, but it's probably not legal. All right. When you talk to Jay about what he's doing, he will give you all the information. The problem is it takes 7 or 8 hours to get it, all the correct information from him because he only gives you a little bit at a time. And that thing Steve was talking about yesterday, asking somebody 7 times why, well, you got to kind of do that with Jay because you have to do that to get all the information. Then you have to come back the next day and try it again. And then by the 4th day, you start getting the real information. I was interviewing him on Zoom, and it literally took me an hour and 10 minutes to get one line from him. But hey, it's a great line, right? But so with Rapid Funnel, you don't have to talk to anybody at all, ever. Do you know that? Does everybody know that? Have you tried using Rapid Funnel? Anybody? It works. Okay, you put somebody's name in and you send them something, and you get an email back that they clicked on it. Then you get an email that says that they looked at it. Sometimes they don't look at the whole thing, but they do look at it. If they don't look at the whole thing, what do you know right away? They're probably not interested or they're busy. You always got to keep in the back of your head. Sometimes people click on something because they know it's from you, and then they realize they've got to watch something for 10 minutes. They just don't have the time right now. But later on, they will. And sometimes you do have to remind them. Don't be a nudge. Everybody know what a nudge is? No? Yeah. I don't like using that because I don't know how. But you can just send that to somebody and you automatically tells you what they do and what they don't do. Whether it's for a claim or it's for a new recruit. Like I tell anybody, just recently, I think it was Friday, this guy sent, he's the one, he found my ad and he clicked on it, okay? And he read it and he filled out something that he wanted more information, okay? I didn't go looking for him, right? It wasn't me. So I put his information in Rapid Funnel. I sent him the thing. I saw that he clicked through, and I sent him just the brief video. The brief video is 5 minutes long. He watched only a minute and a half of it. So what should I do next? Well, I should call him up and bug the crap out of him, right? Because he's interested, right? What should I do? Nothing. I should do nothing. Why should I do nothing? He already made a decision. What was that decision? No, that was his decision. And one day, I'm going to have the good Reverend tell you the story about the seed and the sower. And the first part of the story in the seed and the sower is that the sower had very good seed. And he was very ambitious. And he went out and he started sowing the seed. And he got to the end of the first field and he turned around and what did he see? What did he see? Threw seed all out. A lot of work. Yeah, last birds were eating them. The birds were eating them. At that point, you have a choice. What choice is that? Right at that moment, you have a choice, right? You can go chase the birds, or you can just keep on sowing. If you chase the birds, what's going to happen? You might leave the field, but it's going to stop your progress. The birds aren't going to eat all the seeds, right? There's still going to be some there. Some are going to root, some are going to grow, right? And then you go on to the next thing. But if you stop and you chase birds, you leave the field. So don't chase birds. Everybody got that? Know how to relate? Don't chase birds. He made his decision. That's it. But there are plenty of people that you send information to that watch the whole thing and want to more information. That's who you work with. Because not everybody's interested. Yeah. And you don't have to. Rapid Funnel sorts them for you. That's great. Because if they want to move forward, what will they do? I know you guys aren't on rapid funnel because you're looking at me like, what the hell is he talking about? You're not on rapid funnel? You are? Okay, you're not? Do you care? You should get on it. It's free for 90 days with the code METRO, all small case. It's $1, but for 90 days, it's free. And you should play with it so that you can use that thing and you can work with it because it will get you to do things. Yesterday, I sent out, I think, 5 or 6 videos to people for recruiting. This is the funniest thing. If you use Anthony's video, it automatically sends them ICAs. And guess what these people do without having a one-on-one? Guess what they do? It's just crazy. It is crazy what they do. They sign up. The program automatically sends them an ICA without any more additional information. They sign up. It's crazy. Well, it doesn't matter. They don't do anything anyhow. Okay? Because that's the second part of the seed in the cellar. Because what happens, the second part of the seed in the cellar, after he got done, kept on going? It got hot. Got hot out. And the sun wilted the thing. The sun got him. That's what happens. 80% of the time, the sun gets him. Now you know, if you've ever recruited anybody and after a week they're gone, now you got an answer for that. What happened? The sun got them. Now you know the answer. They're not returning your calls. They're not returning their emails. In fact, they send an email to you. Stop sending me emails. You get the STOP in capital letters in your text message, even though you never send them anything automated. You know that that is not done. But the sun got them. And that happens. Why does it happen? Who cares? It just happens. One time I hired somebody. I did a one-on-one. We're at the end. And I said, well, your next step. You know what your next step is? He goes, what? I go, Thursday night we have a class. And he goes, what time does that start? I go, 7 o'clock. He goes, 7 o'clock? Isn't that the night the Simpsons are on? You can't make this crap up. Right? Has anybody ever had that? Somebody say that to them. I've had it said to me. So it's possible you're going to get it said to you, right, along the way. So guess what I did? I already collected his money, and this is when we used to charge $100 for an ICA. Guess what I did? I gave him back his $100 and I tore his ICA. And you're not allowed to tear up ICAs. A lot of people think you're allowed to do that. You're not allowed to. Only the corporate office can, what we call it, void the contracts. You're not allowed to just tear them up because that doesn't do anything to void the contract. All it does is tear it up. It's still in force. Did you know that? You didn't know that, did you? So if you go and you sign a mortgage for a house and you go, oh, you just gave me money for a house, rip, 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 I don't have to pay it anymore. Guess what? You still have to pay it. Doesn't matter if you ripped it up, right? Right? You people are looking at me like you don't know the answer. The answer is it doesn't do anything to the mortgage. You still have to pay it, right? So if you rip up an ICA, you still have to pay it. You're still bound by those things in the ICA. But the important thing is whether or not you can do a claim. So if you're going to hire somebody, what's the most important thing you can do with a new person? Maybe, if they allow you these days. Sometimes it's tough because there's still a lot of people out there that are afraid. Well, that's one of the ways. But know that that's going to happen. There are still a lot of people the politics of it and the news organizations did a great job. And it doesn't matter which side you're on because they both did a great job of scaring the hell out of people. And people are afraid to be in crowds or meet strangers. They're afraid. A lot of them are. My sister Lisa literally has not come out of her house since March of last year. Has not come out of her house. She's afraid. Unfortunately, she has an opinion about everything, and it's usually wrong, but she still hasn't come out of her house. And you might know people like that are just not coming out of their house. So there's certain things that you have to do. Or you might hire somebody in another state. Are you allowed to do that? Yeah. Can you write a claim with them? Well, if you have a license, you can. How do you do that? How do you do that? How do you write a claim with somebody in another state? Do what? You can use DocuSign, but how do you break a claim? How do you find out that they have a claim? Do a Zoom what? Policy coverage review. You ask them questions about whether or not they've had previous claims, whether or not they have damage right now. And if they do, look at their policy. If it's covered, you need some information from them, but you can still write a claim. Easy. Jay, I think his number is a little bit over 20%. I'm not exactly sure what the exact number is, but 20% of the people he hires, he writes a claim. You don't think that that's a good number. It's actually one of the highest in the company. There's only one person that has a higher number, and we can't figure out why he does, but he does. And it's Devin. You do write a lot more claims, but we're still trying to figure out what he's doing that he's cheating the system. Yeah, but he's doing 50% of the people he hires, he writes a claim in. That's an incredible number. Let me tell you, 20% is an incredible number. If you were doing 5%, you'd be probably the average of everybody in the company. So doing 20% is an incredible number. It's 4 times as many as anybody else. So guess what? I'm not the person that asked about that. The person that asked about that is Jay. How do you ask them about them? Jay likes certain foods. You should find out what they are. I'm serious, because if he gets his certain foods that he likes, guess what he's going to do? He can't just sit there and stuff his face, right? Because Jay likes to do one thing other than eat the foods he likes. What do you think that is? He likes to talk. All you have to do is stick his favorite food in front of him and just sit there. And he'll tell you everything. You have to ask him 6 or 7 times until you understand it. But if you have enough food there and you got an hour and a half, you'll learn everything he knows. But that's more valuable, and that's probably one of the best lessons here for this. That's more valuable than learning about the 429 different classifications of water. I forget what it was, but so it will be 430 or 431 the next time I talk about it. All right. What are you arguing whether there's actually 432 different classifications of water? Reverend? No? The 432 different classifications? The 433. Is what? Oh, okay. So, where do you think you get the knowledge to learn how to write a lot of things? No, besides him. No, he's one of the things, but how do you find that out besides giving him food? Or going to the leaderboard and see who's on the leaderboard, not just this month, but look at last month. If somebody's on the leaderboard and they've written 10 claims this month and last month, they are stable, and they're probably somebody that you want to talk to. And I find it amazing that most people won't do that. I don't understand why people won't do that. If you want to find out the recruit, you see who's on the top of the leaderboard a couple months in a row, and you probably want to get to talk to those people. Why would you want to talk to them? Because they know what they're doing. There are some people on the internet, like Art Worry, who can teach you a lot of stuff about direct sales and teach you about network marketing. Again, already this weekend past, I've corrected about 6 people that we are not a network marketing company. One of the people I corrected was Steve. We are not network marketing. We are direct sales. Definitely not network marketing. We are direct sales. And I keep telling him that, but he keeps saying network marketing. You know why he says that? Anybody? Any guess? Venture guess? For a long time, he thought this was a network marketing company. So I came along and said to him, we're not a network marketing company, we're direct sales. Now I can't get it out of his blood. So why are we direct sales? Simple. Why? We go directly to the client and we sell the service. That's direct sales. Now you can make overrides and management money and things like that. That might be network marketing-ish, but it's more sales management than anything else. Yes, that is good. Our promotion, our positions are kind of network marketing, but there's still more sales management. The reason why I say that is because if you take any sales organization, what does a sales organization have? Right at the bottom, what do they have? They have salespeople. What do they have above the salespeople? Managers. What do they have above the managers? Vice presidents. What do they have above the vice presidents? President. You see this all the time. President of sales. And who's the president? The CEO. All companies have that. Every insurance company in the world has that. Almost all big corporations have those things. They have layers and layers of management. One of the things that almost destroyed IBM was the multiple levels of middle management they had. They had hundreds of levels of middle management by the time the 70s rolled around. People were locked in there. You were in middle management in IBM, you were set for life. You weren't going anywhere, and you didn't have to do anything because nobody knew you were there. Okay? And you could just stay there and do whatever you want. Nobody would ever know. But they didn't check. There's so many different levels. There was literally hundreds of levels. Now you can't do that. That's the first thing they do. Start cutting all those levels out to save money. They do that all the time. I don't know if it's a good idea whether they do that because they want to save money or they just want to reset it, do it again. I'm pretty sure that there are some discussions that they have. They say, you know something, we're a large company, but we have 470 middle managers. We got to get rid of half of them. I'm sure that that's what they make a decision. It's all financial. If they got rid of half of the middle managers, they would save millions and millions of dollars salaries. And what happens with the rest of the managers? They have to work a little bit harder. Not much harder, but a little bit harder. Yep, they don't get rid of that. They don't get rid of salespeople. So a couple of things that you want to take away from this is that you don't need a whole bunch of other information. You don't need the Stan, what do you have, 612, did you say? What the number you gave me? Classifications of water, did you say 612? So you don't need to know about the 613 different classifications of water. What you do need to know is how to use the Rapid Funnel app. And if you don't have anybody to talk to, spend a couple hours thinking about that. I'm going to give you a hint. I get all of my claims through Facebook. Yeah, and I don't advertise. So there is a noodle bar and sushi place next to the Fieri restaurant. So if you want to learn how to do that without spending any money, I like noodles. Did you get what I said to you? You got it. What you should be asking me, what kind of noodles, Mike, right? How come you guys aren't asking me what kind of noodles? It doesn't matter. I'll eat whatever you get me, okay? So, but on Facebook, wherever you live, there's community pages. Okay? Where do you live, sir? So where in South Carolina? Charleston? So Charleston has a community page. What section of Charleston do you live in? North Charleston? North Charleston has a Facebook community. What section of North Charleston do you live in? What's a development you live in? Green Ridge is a development. Green Ridge has a community page. You didn't know that. That's what you should do. You should become a member of those 3 pages. And if you are in a subdivision, your subdivision probably has a community page. Or there are groups on Facebook that for hobbies and stuff. You know, so I found out about this a couple of 10 years ago. Jim Beam has bourbon clubs. Did you know that? They have thousands of bourbon clubs across the world. They get together once a month and they drink bourbon. Guess who's on Facebook community pages? Jim Beam Bourbon Club. The reason why I say that is there are some hobbies that you guys do that they have a Facebook community page on. They don't always talk about bourbon on the bourbon pages. Oh, I sue, they got insurance there. I sue, they got insurance there. Oh, damn it. What's that? Well, I got 20 people that witness it. That's true, but then that would be the insurance adjuster who would say that. So anywhere you live, they have a Facebook community page, and you should become a member. And don't bombard it with, hey, does anybody have a claim? I'm a public adjuster. Send me your claims. You'll get kicked off the page. But in the community pages, occasionally post something good. And Bill does, he still does it. I don't know if you guys watch it anymore, but he does a smart claim tip every week. You should take the smart claim tip and you should generalize it or put it in your own words and post it. Facebook, not the whole thing. Something simple. Like something simple as only 20% of renters have insurance. When I heard that, I was shocked. 20% of renters have insurance. The other 80% don't. Well, they might, but the 80% need it. So might start to, only 20% of renters have insurance. It's only $100 or $200 a year to get covered. That's a good thing to post. Then maybe next week you post something else like that. But what you should be watching for is somebody has a problem. Here's what will happen. Something will happen and we'll post on the community page. Does anybody have a good plumber I can call? You should direct message them. You should have a good plumber because you live, because you need one. I know a plumber. What happened? Let me tell you what happened. Yes. Yes. That works. That works. And guess what? The best part of that whole thing is it's free. What's that new commercial? Free, 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 free. And you'll get a lot of claims by doing that. Well, Mike, I live in an area where they don't have Facebook. Quit, okay? All right. So you probably noticed I only got through 3 slides because you didn't want to see the other ones. But what I did give you is more important information, especially about Facebook and especially about what you should concentrate on in your business instead of concentrating on the things that you think you should. Okay? If you think you need something, you probably don't. What you do need is a way of getting leads easily, Facebook, and a way to send people information without talking to them on the phone. Because if you talk to them on the phone, you can trouble. Because they are going to ask you questions, and being new, you're not going to know all the answers, okay? And you're going to get a little intimidated, even if you do say to them, I don't know the answer to that, but I'll get it to you and I'll get back to you. You get a little bit intimidated by that. Because it's going to take you a good couple months before you feel comfortable talking with anybody about anything. You don't really need to know much. Okay? So, what's that question? It might be, but everybody has a executive vice president. They got there for a reason, and everybody has a senior vice president. So you can call the corporate liaison or send an email to cl@metropa.com and get that information from them. Who's my EVP or who's my SVP? Because if you call us, you know, because they're brand new, they just don't know. But if they call us, if you call me, if I happen to be your senior vice president, know that I need noodles or I ain't giving you answers. Thank you. One more. Okay. Well, Metro Community is great for learning information about Metro. So in order to get on the Metro Community, go to Facebook, search for the group Metro Community. You need your Metro ID number to request a membership. Once you request a membership, they'll put you on that. And Metro Community has lots of great information like the smart claim tips. They're posted there. A lot of the trainings are posted there. And if you're talking about what I'm talking about, Facebook community pages, they're a little bit different. So find the ones in your area, drill it down. First look for your city, then look for your region, and then look for any development you live in because they all have community pages. What? Yeah, group pages, that or community pages, yes. Okay, so he just said that Jay just said you can get on the community Metro community page directly from MECTOR front page. It's in the headlines. Is that it? All right, everybody, have fun. Who's buying me lunch? You're not buying me lunch? No, I need noodles. But thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Turn this.